In the last video, we were doing the production schedule list view, and we were on this screen. Let's go ahead and click off, go back to the nav. What we're going to be doing is we're going to move down through the next screen so you can see what we're actually doing. We visited the production portal, which was this screen, and as you recall, you can do finds in here to find individual records in the portals that were in the main screen where you could not use the portal. For example, you cannot do a find in a multiple line portal screen, but you can go to the individual one and do your finds within that. When I say finds, that's a search, and if you're looking up here, it's called start search and perform search to find those particular records. Let's go back. The next thing we did was we looked at the list view. Now let's look at the production labor list view, which is related to this popover field over here. Now we're looking at the individual row records, and you can see that down at the bottom they actually summarize the labor. Now what you can do in here is you're starting to do a search. You may want to look in there by the ID numbers as far as work that's being progressive, as far as the 1-1s and so forth. And you can break it down any way you want to. Maybe you want to look at all the work that was done on the hood, the windshield, and later on as things start to actually get real labor that is being done, you can go ahead and break these down to see what the cost of, say, the windshield repair was. Or maybe there was some vehicle chrome work being done or whatever. Or you may want to look at for an individual labor person to see what the cost for that labor for that person is. What you would be doing is starting a search and then using the information from the drop downs in that particular area. For example, if I say start a search and I drop it down, I want to use whatever the information is available to me to make sure that I'm doing what I'm looking for. Here's the information as you see here, or the build area. The labor date is going to be just a date. You can look for the date area. These would not normally be used if you're using them for a search for labor hours, rate, or labor cost. But any of these other ones can be done that way. So for example, if I put that in there and I said find it, it may not actually be there, but I'm going to do it. You'll see that it says modify or change because there are no records with the bumper trim. So I'm just going to say cancel, and it's going to flip all the data back over so I can look at it. Now, when you're in this area, you can edit with this in the area and edit these fields, but I don't recommend you editing it here if you're just doing it randomly. You want to make sure that when you're editing, you're doing it for a reason. Maybe it's changed or it needed to be edited or whatever, but you can do it. But you can also go back into the portal by clicking on the or tapping on the icon at the end of the individual rows. Down at the bottom, you see the summary. This will change based on the records that you're actually having in selection at the time you do your search. Okay, let's go on. Now that we explained that, and let's look at the labor portal. Now we were here before, and you see that we can go in here and do our searches like we did over before using the same fields. Whatever you affect in here as far as the search, when you go back to the list view, that's what you will see in the list view. So you can do a search in either of those two areas. You can do it in the list view or in the portal itself for labor. The photo portal is kind of interesting. It has some additional things that we haven't covered yet. In this case, it has the ID number that is in here for the individual ID for the photo. It has the sample as far as the name of the actual photo. In this case, it's showing you how big the photo is. And I recommend, if you're going to be keeping these in your application, to keep them fairly small. Don't put in a 3 meg or even something the size of a gig. That'd be crazy to do that. What you would do is resize your image down to something. Typically, if you take it with a camera like an iPhone or whatever, it might be 20 inches by 16 inches or something like that. What you want to do before you actually add it to the database is to trim it down to something that is reasonably small. And when you put it in there, you're going to see that this is only 55.85 kilobytes. So it's really a nice small image. On this side, what we're doing is we're explaining that you can insert things from URLs in here. So for example, if you went out to a website and you took the URL for the image by right mouse clicking on it, in this case we're doing something different, but if you right mouse click on it, you say copy photo URL, you could paste that in here and then say insert from photo from URL, and it'll actually put it in there. The same thing goes if you have a video. If you create a video for your production information, it's too large to fit in the actual database. They can get up to a great size. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and put the same thing in there. If you have a video, put like if they're on YouTube or some other site like YouTube, I called it sample video, but you could name it, for example, hood restoration or something. Then you could put your URL in here from YouTube, and then when you click on this, it'll go to that URL where you can run that. As far as the video is concerned. If you try to do that within your own application, it just gets too large as far as the application is concerned. And you can add as many videos as you want. You can have numerous videos in here. So what you're doing is you're either inserting from a URL here and the URL itself, or you're going out to your own iPad or iPhone, and what you're doing is you do a replacement. In this case, you could put audio in there or a signature, but it's not necessary. These are just options you have, or music or a file. But you would be putting a photo in there from your photo library. In this case, I'm going to say, yes, show me the photos in the library. I could click on here. There's 5 different photos. And these are just samples that are included so that you have something to work with. When you do this yourself, it would be showing you your photo library, not the one here in this roll. So we're going to cancel that. Now let's go ahead and go back up to the main screen up here and do the nav. And we're going to go on to the, we did the video. I'll show you that there's just a small portal in here so you can have a search if you wanted to for individual videos by their name. The next one is the production build list. Now I'm going to break at this particular point, and what we're going to do is create a new video tutorial for the production list and the inventory going down here, because this one will get too long to try to do them from here. So the next video you're going to be seeing is the production build list.